So this is one cube. We can use this for learning multiplication tables. And here the numbers start from 1 from here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So this method is helpful to learn multiplication tables in a visualizing method using objects. And it is also just enough to learn only the lower triangle, and the upper is the same as the lower triangle. Same in the sense like 3 times 4 and 4 times 3 is the same, which is 12. And in one cube it is obvious because there is only one object between 3 into 4, 3 times 4 and 4 times 3, and we usually start from the lower number to the higher number. So to practice this Vaughn cube, we first need to introduce all these object names to children. So that is pie, tuna, and it's likely that children will say that it is a fish, but there's this type of fish called tuna. So it is tuna, and this is teach, which is a teacher, and we say it as teach. Nose, nail, moose, match, rain, rope, latch, chair, cone, foot, and there are also other objects. So there are different charts for different number of tables. So this chart is for 3 tables. So here the objects that children need to learn are tail, toffee, net. So this is called an oar. So there is a tag here saying that new. So we say it as new oar and new key. And for 4 table, the objects that they need to know is like, they already know new oar, and that's knife, money, and again match. They know match now. And that's 5 table. 5 table we can ignore for children because it will be easy for them to learn 5 table. And for 6 table they can learn roof, lure, and chime. After knowing the object's name, children need to know where the object comes in between which 2 numbers an object comes, and or on which object, which number an object comes. So to make it easier for children, we can create a similar setup in our classroom. So on the 4 walls, we can stick these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 as shown in this picture, and ask children to draw these objects and place them in their classroom. So whenever they look at the walls, they'll be able to recall where the object comes in. Okay, after knowing where the object comes, children need to now learn the sounds of the object name. So for example, so this is pipe, and some of the objects have single sound and some of them have 2. Let's see what are all those. So this is pipe, so the sound is p. This is tuna, the sound is t, n. Tuna, t, n. This is teach, t, ch, teach. Nose, n, z, so that's s. And nail, n, l, nail. Moose, m, s, s. Match, m, ch, match. Rain, r, n, rain. Rope, r, p, that's latch, l, ch. Chair, ch, r, cone, k, n, foot, f, t. And for the other objects, so that's tail, t, l, tail, toffee, t, f, toffee, net, n, t, new or, n, r, new key, n, k, new key. That's roof, r, f, roof, lure, l, r, lure, chime, ch, m, chime, new or, that we already saw, which is n, r, new or, knife, n, f. So here knife, we don't see how we write the spelling, but just the sound as knife, because knife starts with K, so we are not counting K, we are just looking at the sound. Knife is n and f. Money, ma, n, money. Match again is ma and ch. So now we know that children are able to know the object names, where those object comes in, and the sounds of that object name. And with those sounds, now children need to map the corresponding number and its sound. Let's see which number is for the sound. So here, s, which is S, is 0, t is 1, n is 2, m, which is M, is 3, r, which is R, is 4, l, is 5, ch, ch is 6, k, which is C and K, is 7, and f is 8, p is 9. Okay, an easy method to map the sounds and the number is, so s is 0, and t, so when we write T, so that's 1, so that's 0, 1, and for 2, when we write N, when we just turn it over, reverse it, like it will be as 2, you can see. And m is also like, when I turn it over this way as 90 degree, it is 3, and r, I can just write like, we all write 4 like that, so that's 4, and 5 is l, so we just imagine that that's 5 and there is a log on top of it, so that's l, and ch is like, so this should be, ch is When I write ch, c, and on top of it I write h, so that becomes c. So I write c, on top of it I write h, and that is 6. And k is like, that's 7. F is F, so F is 8. F, when we mirror it, like, it will be 9. So that's F. So once children are able to map the sound and the number, we can ask children to practice mapping the sound and the number with the object. And so for example, if there is net, the sounds are n and ch, so which is 2 and 1, which is 21. And so now when we map the sound, the number and the sound, for example, if it is tuna, the sounds are t and n. So for t, we know that it is 1 and n is 2, so it is 12. 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 3 is also 12, because there is the same object here, tuna. And similarly for teach, the sounds are t and ch. T is 1, ch is 6, so it is 16. So 4 times 4 is 16. And nose, which is between 4 and 5, n, s. N is 2, s is 0, so 4 times 5 is 20. So similarly, children should be able to practice and tell the number instead of the object name. They should be doing all this in their mind. They should find the sound in their mind and corresponding number to that sound, and come up with the correct number between those two numbers. Okay, so if children are familiar with phi table, so phi table just has 3 objects, which is male, rows, and ruler, which is rule, r and l. So if children are familiar with multiplication of 5, they can just ignore this 5th table chart and can learn only the objects of the tables they don't know. And you can also skip anything children know well. Example, if they know 3 table, so if they know 3 table, they can ignore these objects. We can skip this, and this reduces the number of things that children need to learn. And however, if they get confused with some multiplication, generally, example like 4 times 8 is just same as 8 times 4. So when they don't know what is 8 times 4, it is just the same as 4 times 8. So it will be easy for them to learn. So Vaughn cube can also be used once it is learned. It takes some time for children to learn, but once it is learned, it can be used in multiple ways. So that also gives a sense of 3 times 4 is the same as 4 times 3. And for division also, like when children memorize the multiplication tables, they will keep telling it from, for example, if we take 8 table, they'll tell 1 8s are 8, 4 8s are, 2 8s are, 3 8s are, 4 8s are. So, and in between, if we ask like 64, when we move on to division and all, when we ask what number divides 64. So for children who learn one cube, it will be easy to understand, like, so 64 is 6 is cha and 4 is ra. So the object comes with cha and ra is chair. So chair is at 8. So it will be easy for them to say that it can be divisible, it is divisible by 8.